abortion. Do you feel?
Oh boy.
Do you feel like men do not have a place to legislate whether abortion should be a thing or not? As a woman,
No, no, I'm not with that at all.
Where's Bizarro at? Oh man,
because I've been hearing that from a lot of women that they feel like men shouldn't have a voice in it, and it's a direct attack on females. But I've only been hearing it from all the women that have spoke on it are usually liberal leaning.
Exactly.
So,
that's a liberal feminist position. And far from that. I used to be, well, not anymore. I can't get down with that. I feel
why
like
not?
that's just an ignorant statement.
So why can men have a say?
Why can they? Because it's 50-50. That's their child. If the man wanted the child, you would totally hold that man responsible to care for that child and be invested in that child with all of it. So it makes no sense.
That's exactly what I said.
That man's seed. It's, so how are you going to tell him that he has no rights to that? I don't think the government is right now. I was looking it up. And there were some Supreme Court cases, and what they determined is they cited that because there's a possibility that the man could be abusive or could cause harm, that the woman doesn't have to notify. That the woman doesn't have to notify, or the government doesn't have to notify that man before she has the abortion. And that's wrong. I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, that's definitely unbalanced in my opinion.
Legislation government's always been in favor of the woman, though. Come on now.
You think so?
Yeah.
Look at look at when you deal with like child support and like all the crazy stuff with that. People go through a lot of crazy stuff, man. Like almost everything, it seems like the man is at fault. Like it don't matter anything going on. You want to get a separation and it can be mutual. It's still like the dude paying buku bread and everything that you say. Like they just getting taxed on everything.
It's almost like anti-family in the sense of people are afraid to start families because of it. It's like, yo, if anything go wrong, I'm dead out here, so I ain't even gonna start.
That's why people are probably doing prenups, man, because you're better off building some kind of contract to hold up in court where, like, well, nope, we got a contract here that says
you go ahead and tell a Christian woman you want a prenup. See how she look at you.
Yeah, she look at it like you ain't from God or something. But at the same time, it's,
like, I thought you were Boaz.
I'm not totally against it, though. I think it really depends. That's where you are and what you have when you come into it. Like for my husband and I, we was both broke. We was young and broke, so we probably wouldn't even have the money to pay for a prenup to get one, and we didn't have anything to put on it in the first place. But other people, I don't have any problem with it, and I don't think women should either, because it still gives them protection. It's not like you could get a prenup that says I'm going to give you absolutely nothing. It's a lot of greed in there and asking for stuff that they probably shouldn't. So, I don't have a problem with it.
It shouldn't be an issue, I think, because, it's not a popular opinion, but, me, I speak my opinion anyway, is marriage is a contract. It's a business. It's a contract. You look for you got to protect the interests of both parties as with any other contract. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see why it should be a problem. It's like, oh, we're supposed to love and feel. Like emotions has nothing to do with it. When you walk in that courtroom, the judge is not judging or basing nothing on emotions and feelings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
attorneys.
Yeah, because, these laws out here are just crazy. You know what I'm saying? If you don't protect yourself and you go in, ignorantly on feelings, like the divorce rate is so high. I
I
don't
mean,
know,
if
man.
child, I just don't understand. Like, if child support is supposed to take care of the child, like the
It's
money
not
that I
about
be
that.
talking to some people about. No, I get that. I'm just saying, like,
Mhm.
I know it's not just about that, but it's like if I'm paying to help raise the child and we was equal partners and whatever, and we not together, and like, okay, you got a job you work in because the state awarded the child to you because whatever reasons, because the
Mhm.
state's more favorable for things like that.
Right.
So I'm paying 800 to a rack a month for child support. Like like am I paying for you too? like what is going on? You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, is it really an equal share? Like, is my child really going through? Let me times that by two. Say if it's 800, 1,000 a month, $2,000 a month in resources
No,
that you're pitching in a
no.
grand too that covers.
Yo, let me tell you something. I know I'm cool with I have a female friend, right? And she's recently divorced. And they got 2 kids together. So, of course, it was a bitter divorce. And basically, his court order was basically it was enough money where he couldn't live on his own. He couldn't put a roof over his head or nothing, right? So he went and got a second job to take care of himself. And then the court took money from that too because he went and got a second job. And he's like, I have to do
Right.
this to take care of myself. What the hell do you expect me to do? So he ended up getting a girlfriend just so he could live there because he couldn't have nothing on his own. Now, let's say this is a believer or something like that, right? Like, think about the position that man is in. Like,
Mm.
he got to go. I mean, I hate the term, but he got to go shack up with somebody because he got to have a roof over his head because of this court order. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to expect people to function,
And
like
kid, that's
this.
why that's why a lot of dudes around here that, like, they do like these, they barbers.
Mm.
It's like not like, like it's a lot
Right.
of, kind
Under
of
the
like
table.
under the table type money, if you will.
Right, right, right.
And like they straight up front with it, like, yeah, man, like, I'm barber and I ain't trying to get no job that's on the record because they're
Mhm.
gonna take 80% of my bread. Like, I can't even live
Right. Yo,
now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy, man. I don't know if the laws are different state to state. I mean, I know they're different, but I don't know how much they differ. But it's like because the cost of living, like where you at, Ant, is much cheaper than where I'm at. And they got these things called 50-50 states. Where each parent is responsible for 50% of the child's expenses, and then you got other places where it's different, and that's why people do, like you said, Barbara, or they just do illegal stuff on the side. And then it's like, so I always kind of try to put things in the context of the Lord. Like, would the Lord have mercy on you if you decide to just do all type of stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if David could eat the showbread, would he have mercy on you because you got to sell an 8 ball of crack?
Oh man, no.
It's
Wow.
real. It's a real question.
And then the shacking up
I
part,
think
no,
it's real.
man. Like, why you
I
can't go
think
live
it's
with your parents or your uncle or auntie,
Some people
grandma,
don't have
somebody?
that. Some people don't have that option.
Yeah.
I think it is a good question because in and of itself, selling let's say like weed or something like that, in and of itself is not really
It's not evil.
you're not really breaking no Torah precepts. You're not really, it's literally about the law of the land. I mean, they can change the law of the land tomorrow, and that's already happened in Colorado and places. And people got weed stores now. Nobody's looking at that as evil, but y'all already know when we was out, in high school and early 20s selling weed day by day, that was looked at as super evil, especially by the church from the church side. So it's a good question.
I've never sold a drug till after I was saved. But I felt like I had to in the situation I was in. I know it sounds funny, Shannon, but I felt like I had to because I was in a situation where my debt was growing month to month and I couldn't get a job because I had this on my head. You know what I'm saying? I walked into an office. I had my first job was in Midtown Manhattan, 53rd Street for an asset management company. And I was just a simple office clerk, right? And I did my thing. I did what I had to do, and I was, whatever. And I did extra, and they liked me. The only other black person in that office was a female. She was the front desk receptionist. And she told me, she said, they really like you, but unless you cut your hair, they're not going to keep you. And I said, well, this is when I was still naive to the world. I said, what does my hair have to do with my work ethic and my output? She said, that sounds good, but that's just not how it works. I said, well, then this is not a place I want to be in, because I'm not going to assimilate to that type of culture, and I'm not cutting my hair for a job. This is not even my career. This is my first job in life. Like, you know what I'm saying? And sure enough, they let me go for somebody that was incompetent, because I was still cool with her. She would tell me, yo, the person that got replacing you don't know what they're doing. This, that, and the third. So, and I couldn't get a job, and I had like a debt that was growing every month. And I was like, Lord, if you don't give me a ram in the bush, I got to do what I got to do. Because I'm trying. I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not being lazy. I'm not sitting on my hands. I was looking for jobs day in and day out. Where my mother, who used to fight with me, saying, all you do is sit on that computer. I'm looking for work. I was hitting the streets. Nothing, And it might sound funny. That was the best thing I ever did. I took care of my debt. I took that pressure off of me, and I saved enough money so I could continue looking for a job. And I quit cold turkey after like 3 months. I didn't even do it that long, but it helped me. So I think about things like the showbread, even though it sounds funny, but like God specifically set down a rule, and then he gave grace on it based on the situation. You know what I'm saying? Even with like murder, you're not supposed to murder, but God would give grace in protection of life. You know what I'm saying? So I think about these things. Right. So culturally, it don't sound right to say, yo, God gave me a pass to hustle this joint. You know what I'm saying? But really, is that consistent? That's just something that's the way I think about things sometimes. So, I don't think you get an extra badge for, following the American laws while you starve. I don't know. I don't know about that. I could be wrong, but I just don't know about that.
I'm with you there, man. I'm with you on that.
And as far as abortion goes, because I didn't even get my opinion on that. I'm not for it. It's hard for me because I'm not for abortion, but I understand the need for it sometimes. Just like murder. I'm not for murder, but I understand if you got to take somebody's life, depending on the situation. So I kind of look at it the same way. And then I think of things like it's evil, but God ordained certain people to die. God allowed Herod to kill all the babies 2 and under. David's kid with Uriah's wife, God took that kid off the planet. Like, are there situations where it's not as wicked? I don't know. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying I don't know. So even though I'm anti-abortion, I'm not going to say in every situation across the board, it shouldn't happen.
So one thing I would throw out there, is that I believe there's a difference between kill and murder. So like, for example, the 10 Commandments, it says thou shalt not kill in the English, but when you actually
that's murder, right?
Yeah. So, but then when you look in Ecclesiastic, it says there's a time to kill, but I don't think there's really ever a time to murder. And I guess it's all about what the what you feel the definition of murder is. But like, for example, killing in war, you know what I'm saying? If you're in warfare, that's not considered murder. Killing in self-defense, your life was in danger, or you're defending your family, that's not considered murder. That's killing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's just something to throw out there in that respect.
But like, look at this. Like, so if you hear about like somebody I don't know, a mass shooter, let's say, right? And they'd be like, oh, God wanted me to do it. We would say they're crazy, right? But then you think about a whole nation of people running into somebody else's land and killing man, woman, and child. I think if we saw that in real time, we would say that was wicked and evil. There's no way God co-signs that when God ordered it. So I try to think about it like we have the gift of hindsight when we look at these things. So when certain things happen in real time that are ideally good, it's something I try to filter. Like, could God be behind such a thing? Because in real time, I don't think a lot of us would have believed Jesus if we was around when he was here. If he said, I am him, and especially the way the Israelites at the time expected the Messiah to be, it made sense why a lot of them rejected him. A lot of us here probably would have been on that side of it, like, because we already look at people funny that say they prophets right now, So just imagine him saying he's the son of God. It's like, bruh, So I just think I have compassion on like the Pharisees when I read those stories, because in real time I probably would have been on their side of things, So these are just things I think about.
I feel
see
like
stuff in real
sometimes
time.
like dealing with the abortion thing, like we put a lot of faith. People have put a lot of faith in physicians and put a lot of faith, in doctors because they're like really trusting their decision making based on the things that are going on. And we know that there can be evil agendas that may exist, or that
Or they just
particular doctor might have a certain viewpoint towards certain things. And so when they see something that's just like, yeah, you might be, better off aborting because of X, Y, and Z. And,
right.
You have people that are like really in favor of like wanting to give you the premium ultimate healthy baby. And so they're like, well, we did these tests and we have these indicators and we see that, you might have a 70% chance of your kid being autistic, or, they give you odds, and we know that's out there. So we have a lot of young people that can be, or young, old, whatever, can be very uninformed people when it comes to this particular thing in the medical field, and they're just going off of the trust of the physician. And so they're like, well, if you say it's the best thing to do, then I guess then that's what I'm going to do. And so you find people falling into this gap sometimes, or falling into this scenario sometimes where it's just done at the plight and the recommendation of the physician, and their motive may be like, it doesn't matter to me, or they might have a certain motive. And so, and it's not always a healthy or a good thing that lines up with maybe my worldview or Ant's worldview or Shannon's worldview or your worldview when it comes to these things. Whereas, like, if we were to hear the whole context of everything, it's just like, why would you recommend that? Because of that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're willing to, abort a baby at, 4 months because of that, and they're just doing it naively because they're believing like, oh man, I might put myself in jeopardy, or this baby's going to be whatever. And it's just a lot of, pieces to that.
You said something really important there, because I actually have some close friends who went through that, where the doctor literally she wasn't too far in pregnancy and literally recommended for her to get an abortion because they said it was a high chance that the baby's going to have. I don't even think he said it was a high chance. I think they just said that the baby was going to have autism or something like that. And they opted out because they're Christian, they're a Christian family. They opted out. It was like, no, we're just going to have to have a baby and just take care of it. And perfectly fine. I mean, he's like 4 or 5 now. No autism. You know what I'm saying?
I saw somebody on Facebook. They said that their parents were advised to abort them because of all these, diseases and da 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 da. And they're like, yo, I'm a result of my parents not aborting me. Like, don't choose for me. So.
And there's probably a lot of situations like that too. There's probably a lot of stories out there like that.
Man, I look at my daughter every day. I'm like, I couldn't imagine like crushing your spine and your skull. Like, that just.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that if they gave me a 30% odds of some scientific study that when they did a blood draw and they said, well, you know, we in 70% of cases we see that it could be that, to say, well, go ahead and end it. I couldn't imagine, for a whole slew of reasons, to not have my daughter around in my life. You know what I mean? You know, selfish reasons, or and that's the thing that comes into it. Man, you got two consensual adults together. And I'm not going to speak to like exceptions to the rule. I'm just going to speak about just a general situation.
Right.
Two people come together, they lay down. We all know how reproductiveness works. Okay, you have that moment. Everything goes through what it takes to have a baby, and it happens. One person, you know, like the dad could be, you know, the man could be excited, the woman could be hesitant, I don't know. And then now you take away the joy of one because the other's like, well, no, because it's, you know, it's in me. So it's just very, you know, it's a very weird dilemma, because it's just like, man, like I'm gonna get robbed of the joy of having a child and experiencing that and wanting that, and you know.
I feel like it's equal to, like, I could be wrong drawing this like comparison, but like if a dude don't want to take care of the child after the child's here, that's how I kind of look at abortion. Like, don't tell the woman what to do. You know, if she doesn't want the responsibility, she can just abort it. Well, if the man don't want the responsibility after the child's here, you shouldn't be chasing him down. Like, I think that's the same line of thinking. Don't tell him
that child support.
You know what I'm saying? Don't tell him, no, you laid down and this is your responsibility, but that don't apply to you when it's in your womb.
Right.
Exactly.
No. I saw that. I saw that argument. That's a fair point in my opinion.
Yeah, that's good. I have to use that one.
Yeah, you should have
guessed. I'm going to use that
one.
Turn that joint into a meme, man.
Yeah, they all out there picketing and talking about their rights. But, okay, well, what about your responsibility?
Right.
You know, saying you grown, you equal to a man, you can do what you want. Okay, but you can't have responsibility for what you choosing to do. You know, it doesn't make sense.
Just think of all the scientists and inventors that we murdered that never got a chance. You know what I'm saying? Over what is it, like 70 million? You know what I'm saying? Black babies alone, that don't even account for white babies and Asian and all these other cultures. You know what I'm saying? All the possible things that, like, what if Steve Jobs was aborted? You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know, Martin Luther King. Like, this is just, I don't know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But then somebody on the other side say, well, what if friggin' Marilyn Manson was aborted? You know,
Hitler.
Right. So you never know. But then if God is sovereign,
everybody's falling in suit.
That's the other part of it. People talk about the sovereignty. So it's like, who cares about abortion? God gonna do what he do. Some people, I've heard that argument as well. So it gets sticky, man. It gets sticky. But
definitely
anyway,
get philosophical.
Yeah, this was dope. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed kicking it with y'all. We got Shannon on here. We got to get more females. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Tina was came upstairs real quick. That's why I got booted downstairs. But she was like, "Oh, you on live or whatever?" I was like, "Yeah." So your sis Shannon on here right now. She's like, "Good. We need some girls on there." I'm like, "Be quiet."
She need to get on here. Stop
I
playing.
know. That's what I said.
Get on here.
I'm saying
I didn't say her though because I know she's so busy looking. I'm trying to get some music made. So
you say you're trying to get that sneak peek music.
So I was like, going to work, sister. We're on the work.
Yo, Shannon, PayPal me $20 and I got you.
Yeah, Rigz actually pretty much got it all. So
usually you're trying to get 100 from me.
Huh?
I guess I better take that $20 shot since you're always trying to get 100.
Oh yeah, because I'm not greedy. Just give me $20.
So $20, I'll send it to you next Thursday, the day before.
Yo, and I got these ant freestyles. I got these ant freestyles. I can send it to you for extra $5.
Man.
Hey, Shannon was in there. Hey man, Shannon was
back in the group.
She had dropped out.
No,
you got back in the group.
We ain't talking about that.
Oh, all right.
Man, I got these poor man copyright lyrics of basically most of the masterpiece. Man, I'm
That
glad I
was
saved it.
that album was trash. Nobody want that. You know what I'm saying?
It's okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
appreciate y'all. I'm
All right,
gonna
y'all.
go back outside and run the streets at 12 o'clock at night.
We watched the
Yeah.
movie
With
making the
Your
Wu Tang.
ID,
Huh?
with your address on it.
Oh yeah, I always got my license. In New York, you can't get caught without a license. It's over. You going to jail automatically. You can be taking out your trash. They ask you for it, and it's not on your person, and you in public. It's a wrap.
See, you need it on, like Ant got it on, just like wear it, like right here, boom.
Yeah.
You just walk around with it right there.
Who am
Yeah.
I? I am Judah. That's all you need to know.
Oh, but by the way, my
Change my name.
government name's on the back side of this. Here, there it is.
They be like, yeah, hands behind your back, sir. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one.
All right.
All right, now.
All right.
All right.
Peace.
Later.